Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Dodo podcast. Today, I am here with Maggie Brennan, a person you may have seen online as Retro Maggie, and the amazing content she's been creating, including with some very famous skaters, which I'm going to get onto a little bit further on in this podcast. Maggie, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. We had a bit of a rocky start before I got on this podcast. Everything I was about to use decided to break about 10 minutes before the record, but we're back, we're ready to go, and I'm really glad we've got you on today. I've been following your stuff online for a while because you've got an incredible gaming collection. I see your videos, and I just look at the room you've created with all the games in the background, and you seem to just have like a treasure trove of nostalgia kicking around in there.
Yeah.
When did you start collecting all this stuff?
I've started as a kid collecting all this stuff, and it was funny. It was only I've had it hidden away because I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I had all this stuff hidden away for a long time, and it was only the last couple of years I'm like, I might start displaying this stuff in the lounge room. Maybe let's turn it into a gaming lounge room. The kids are starting to get into it now, and they also respect like the games as well too. They know to keep them nice in the box and not throw them about as well too. So I'm like, all right, we'll get some shelving. Let's get all the retro games out, and then we just started collecting again. It's been pretty fun. Kids enjoying it as well too.
As some of the games that you've had from a child, have you been recollecting everything that you used to play? Like, are there some originals from, back in the day up there in the collection as well?
Yeah, mostly PlayStation 1 games I've sort of kept from a child, but I was spewing because I sold my Nintendo 64 and got rid of all the games on that. So I started recollecting my Nintendo 64 games about 13 or 14 years ago when they weren't really that expensive. So I got about 120 or 130 boxed Nintendo 64 games, and I wanted to try and collect the whole set, but lately the prices of them are just too crazy. So I might switch to just getting the cartridges from now on. But I don't know if my OCD could deal with having half the set boxed and half the set cartridges. So I might just have to buy one every couple of months or something.
The prices have gone sky high recently. I don't know whether you saw we had on Brent Scotchmer who works with Pogs and Tops Cards and Garbage Pail Kids. He's done a lot of designs for those.
Yeah.
And he's a massive collector, and he has just spent so much time of his life just going around swap meets and car boot sales and speaking to the postman about, if you've got any retro games, bring them my way. And he amassed an incredible collection just like you're doing. And I just wish I had the room. I wish I had the room.
Well, that's what we did. We didn't have the room. We moved into our house. It's a pretty old house, but we've got a big lot of land, so we're on about 1.5 acres. But the house itself is really old. But we got the property because we wanted the land and we wanted to do some stuff to it, which we've done a fair bit of stuff to it. But we decided that the lounge room was really small, so what we did was we took we had like a single car garage, and we took the wall out of that and then converted it into a lounge room. And while we did that, the floor of the garage was a little bit lower, so we had to build the floor up. So I thought it would be a good idea while we did that to run all the cables from the TV wall down into the floor, into a little coffee table that we got in the middle, and it's got all our retro games in there. So we've got all the cables hidden under the floor, which has been a great idea. And then we've got like the back wall, not this wall, full of all the retro games set up. So yeah, it's the perfect setup. It was nice to be able to plan it all out to the perfect sort of games room as well too. Little fireplace in there as well.
That's what I saw when I first saw the video. It kind of looks like the most wholesome couch co-op gaming arena of all time.
Good fun.
And the fact that you've got a huge couch in there and like everything is just set up lovely as well. It takes you back to those. It takes you back to those nostalgic days of just fighting with wavebirds, and this is something that I talk about all the time whenever we get the GameCube out, and my friends diving down to just change their little receiver thing so I couldn't play Mario Kart, and I would lose every single time. It's a defining factor of my childhood is losing a Mario Kart, but we'll get onto that.
Oh yeah, I don't think I ever won at that.
So I know I've jumped straight in because I was really excited to talk about your collection, but for anybody who hasn't seen you before, who hasn't seen your content before, let's talk a little bit about that. So how did you get into creating content about video games, and how did you get into showcasing your love for retro and nostalgic media to the world?
It's funny because I only really started with the retro stuff a year ago, but I started doing TikToks about 4 or 5 years ago in lockdown. We got a pretty cool backyard. We got like a Macca's playground in the backyard and a little mini skate park and that. So I just started filming that in lockdown, and then my TikToks started going viral, and we just did like backyard TikToks and stuff like that. And no one really knew how much of a nerd I was, or how big of a collection that I had as well too. And as much as I loved doing the backyard stuff, my love for gaming was just more important. And I'm like, I might try and start YouTube and see how I go from there. And I actually really enjoyed it because I got to chat to a lot of people about their love for the retro games and extreme sports games. And I cannot believe how similar everybody is in regards to how much they love like the soundtracks to these extreme sports games, and the exact same sort of, they've grown up the same way that we have, no matter where they are in the world, where they've played Tony Hawk's or Dave Mirra with their mates after school, then gone out the front of their house, rode around on the BMXs or the skateboards, and come back inside and have a play again. And yeah, it's really shaped my taste in music as well too, a lot of the extreme sports games too.
I remember playing Tony Hawk's 1 and Goldfinger coming on every single time. And I was just like, it was just incredible. Like
Blown
every
away.
single time they came on, I was just like, I couldn't do a level until that song came on, and I was like, right, now I can do it. I can smash it out now. And it's amazing. It was every single time, like, right, as soon as that comes on, I'm done. But
It's
I feel you again. I've mentioned this on the podcast, so regular listeners are going to be very annoyed that I tell the same stories again sometimes. But I found myself at a garden party in Austria. Long story, but I was talking to somebody there about Banjo Kazooie, and
yeah,
it's amazing when you just don't think, do you, that like these games in different countries around the world have had so many you have so many shared memories
yeah,
with other
exactly.
people, with other people that have done the same thing, and they've both they've gone home from school. They've been itching to get home on the bus to play
To
Ocarina of
play it.
Time or Banjo Kazooie. They get home, they play the level, they defeat Gruntilda, they have their tea, they go to bed. It's really nice when you can connect with people from a completely different country, sometimes a completely different walk of life, and be like, yeah,
Who
we
all
both did
share the
this thing.
same experience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's 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 amazing, and then that's the kind of the power that nostalgia has, and one of the reasons why we love doing what we do here at Retro Dodo, and just
yeah, same.
celebrating all things old, it's nice to see that you kind of bring in these older games and the memories that you've had to a new generation as well. You were saying that you're playing these
Yeah.
with your kids in the
Yeah,
little family
exactly. The
room.
kids are pretty good at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as well too. They're loving it, and they want to start skateboarding more. I noticed that kids these days do. I haven't seen a kid skateboard in years, so I'm happy that the girls are saying to me after we play a bit of Tony Hawk's, "Mum, I want to go outside and skateboard and stuff." And I'm like, "Yes, I've done it right. Let's go skateboard." But yeah, even with Banjo Kazooie, you don't realize how many people have that memory with that game as well too, or have that nostalgia, and it's not something that gets talked about a lot these days. So once I've been putting up all these reels or videos, even friends and family are like, "Oh, I had that game, I love that game growing up," just the sounds and everything to it and bringing it back. So and with Goldfinger, like you mentioned, every time I do a Tony Hawk's reel, I've got to try and not put that song on there, because I feel like every time I do a Tony Hawk's reel or a Tony Hawk's video, I just feel like it needs to have Goldfinger on it. So
It's
you
got
go
to
through
do.
my
It's
reels and
got
it's just
to
Goldfinger, Goldfinger, Goldfinger. Well, I got to choose something else.
I do the same thing. I've been every time I go on now, it suggests, do you want to use Hot Mulligan or do you want to use Sleep Token on this one? I'm like, I better go back and put something else on from like because
Something
this
different.
this just seems to be the two I keep listening to constantly. Yeah, but no, I really like how certain tracks or certain sounds. If I hear anything that sounds like collecting a rupee or a chest opening in
Oh
Ocarina
yeah,
of Time, it instantly takes me back to that moment
yeah,
of being 8, 9 years old, just like going through the Deku tree and and just it's for a brief minute you forget about the fact you've got to empty the dishwasher
Yeah,
or
bills,
just pay bills or actually do some work, and you got to
cook
the time
dinner.
when all you had to worry about was eating lasagna and playing Ocarina of
Those
Time,
are the
which
days, and we didn't realize how good we had it back then as well too. We're just sitting back playing Zelda or Banjo Kazooie or these games, and yeah, not a worry in the world. And we didn't realize how good we had it back then, I reckon.
I messaged my mum the other day to tell her that I don't know how you manage to clean, cook, do everything in the house, and still find time to play Mario Party.
uh,
I wanted to know the secret, and she said it's just good time management, which means I'm screwed. So I'm never going to get there, unfortunately. Uh,
it's hard. It's hard work when you got kids and you're a gamer and you got to still try and do everything around the house, but you still find time for Mario Kart or Mario Party.
well, especially because you are in the world of content creation as well, and it must be
Yep.
hard to try and fit that in as well as you do the gaming.
Yep.
And I don't know whether anyone will know who does follow you on Instagram or see your YouTube
Yep.
stuff, but this is a completely different entity to your normal world because you are
Hmm.
a tattooist.
Yep.
And I would guess you would say not the 9 to 5, but through the day, that's your job as well, isn't it? So how
Yep.
did you?
Definitely.
How does retro gaming play a big part in your tattooing career as that helps you as the art kind of influence anything you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, well, lately, ever since I started getting into the retro creating, the retro channel, I've sort of changed the way I tattoo, like what I want to tattoo nowadays. I want to tattoo that 90s stuff. The most recent tattoos I've
Mm.
done, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 tattoo I did on one of my friends, Wayne's Games, who's another content creator. I did Limp Bizkit tattoo, Corn tattoos, and Slipknot tattoos. So as I've started doing my retro channels, I've started sort of being a bit more picky with the tattoos that I want to do now, which I can. I've been tattooing for 13 or 14 years now, and I've just been a little bit more picky and just been doing 90s tattoos, Simpsons tattoos, Lego tattoos, and loving the mixture of having a retro channel and being able to do the retro tattoos as well too. I've been able to enjoy it a lot. It has been really hard. So the last year, the channel's really picked up, and I've put in a lot of work for it. So I would go to work, 10 till 2:30, pick the kids up from school, sort the kids out and stuff like that. Spend time with the family, spend time with the husband. Then from 9 o'clock till about 12 o'clock, I'd do all my content creating, and then go to bed, do it all again. So ever since about September, October, I've just been doing that for the whole time. Sometimes if I've got the day off, I'll just do content creating all day, making videos. But I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy playing the games and talking to people about it. So as much as it's been a bit stressful sometimes, I've been having fun with it.
How do you find the shift from kind of just being present in work and just the word of mouth marketing, as it were, with your tattooing and with your other ventures, to having to create content 24/7? Has that been like a bit of a
Yep.
big change for you, or is that something you've kind of taken in your stride since starting your career?
I've pretty much created content for for even before I did the retro channel for my tattoo shop, and some of the workers there as well too, because I own a tattoo shop in Melbourne. Some of the workers there, I helped them out a little bit in explaining that if you guys want work, you've got to be constant on Instagram. You can't just post one thing and then 2 months later post another thing. You got to try and post it something every week. At least try and do a reel every week, a post every day. It doesn't even have to be about tattooing. You just got to be constant on Instagram. So I've been trying to do the whole Instagram, Facebook thing with my own business page, and then I kind of saw how good that was going, and then sort of transferred easily to doing retro stuff as well too. Trying to figure out, that people don't have much attention span these days with TikTok. Trying to tell the guys at work, you got to do like a couple of seconds. You got 3 seconds to grab people's attention. Don't start off with a big 2 minute logo or something like that. So trying to explain them how to content create, and to the move to retro gaming channel has been pretty easy. It's been not too bad, but time consuming, that's for sure.
So when you were playing games back as a child or as a teenager, did you find that the artwork and the characters from your favorite games, were they influencing your creative skills when you were sort of learning to draw and getting
Yeah,
into
100%.
artwork
Oh,
that
it's
way?
funny. I don't know if you can see the Street Skaters there. They're the first sort of skateboarding games I got, and I think on Street Skater 1 or Street Skater 2, when the characters come on the screen, I remember sitting at home in my beanbag, I still have a beanbag to this day, and trying to draw the characters in a little notebook as well too, and colour them in the same sort of style. So I'd try and copy album CD cover art or some of the characters in little books. I wish I would have kept them books, but I used to love drawing the art to them. Grand Theft Auto art is some of my favourite art as well too.
Yeah, I've seen you drawing some Grand Theft Auto artwork recently on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. I do some PlayStation 5 covers. I've been painting a couple of PlayStation 5 covers as well too, just for a bit of fun or a bit of content creating. Time lapses as well. Did some Blink 182 covers. Did a set of Corn covers as well too, and donated the proceeds to the sale of that to Royal Children's Hospital as well too. This legend Rob from the US ended up buying the covers on eBay. I thought I'd chuck them on eBay, see if anyone wants them, and he ended up spending $2,200 on him. All the proceeds went to Royal Children's Hospital, and he's got the covers now. I was actually chatting to him today on the live stream, so yeah, I just thought they were going to go for $200. I spent a lot of time on him. I'm like, am I going to have to bid on him if no one bids on him, and I'll just put the money to the Children's Hospital myself. So it's always something I wanted to do. My daughter had to go to the Royal Children's Hospital. Nothing serious. She just had a bit of a cyst, and I've had some friends, kids go there who have had cancer as well too. And it's a really great hospital in Australia. It's meant to be one of the best children's hospitals in the world. So it's just something that I've always wanted to do, was to donate to them. My mum passed away of cancer as well too. So I've always thought that this was something that my mum would be proud of me for doing. So,
Absolutely.
but painting the covers, the goal for them was just to make content. So they're not something that I want to sell. They're sort of Blink 182 covers and San Andreas covers. So I'll probably do more charity donations for them in the future as well too.
And I caught sort of wind of the Majora's Mask one that you've done as well. A massive, massive Zelda fan. I have this here all the time.
Nice. Yeah.
So when I was watching that in the office and sort of looked up there and thought, yeah, I could definitely do one of those in my life. Absolutely, Zelda for me has been sort of like a cornerstone of my childhood, really, growing up ever since. So
my favourite. Ocarina of Time. One of my favourite games of all time.
It's just an incredible game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the series is going to go next on Nintendo Switch 2. How they're going to go from Tears of the Kingdom, if they're going to go back to the old style or not, or if they're going to continue.
I hope so. I'm not a fan of that much of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I did enjoy them, but nothing will ever compare to Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, and I cannot understand why they won't. I'm not a fan of remakes unless it's Tony Hawk's or remasters, but an Ocarina of Time one, I would absolutely lose it for. So I just don't, I don't understand why they can't go back and give us a game in that style when they know us oldies really want something like that again.
We'd all pay $100 or pounds for an Ocarina of Time remake. I'm not talking about remaster, I'm talking complete remake. We'd go wild for it. I know we would. It's controversial. I talk about it on here all the time. I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom because I got bored with it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy them too? Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild, I thought, was an incredible game. It was new. It was something completely different. Everything I'd wanted to do, like climb everything, go everywhere, I could finally do. Tears of the Kingdom was more of that, but too big. You feel like you're putting in a shift doing something else.
Yeah,
when you go and
I
play
want to build cars and things.
No, I've had a hard day writing. I don't want to then go on and play and have to think continuously about every single element or where to go next and be overwhelmed with how big it is. I just want to go, kill the, I don't know, the dongos and stuff and just throw bombs and roll around everywhere. That's kind of what Zelda is to me. It's the release. So... But one of the game that you and I have both grown up with is Mario Kart. You absolutely, I know you've got a strong love for Mario Kart. Talk about your first Mario Kart memories and how much the game means to you.
Well, it's funny. Mario Kart 64 was the first time I got into Mario Kart. I went straight from the NES to Nintendo 64. We didn't have a lot of cash back then, so I never got the Super Nintendo. So we got Mario Kart 64. I think we got the Nintendo 64 Christmas Day, but we couldn't play it because we didn't have the RF converter for it. so we went to the shops and everything Boxing Day, try and find one. Dad couldn't find one, so we had to order one. So I got a Nintendo 64 Christmas. Couldn't play it for a week later until we got this RF converter. And then we could finally play Super Mario. I just sit in my bedroom and hold the controller all week, just pretending that I was playing the game as well too. But me and my sister would play Mario Kart, and it was a big memory with my neighbour as well too. He would come over and we'd always play Mario Kart, especially the battle with the balloons. That was something that, whenever you had friends who were around, you'd always be playing that one in the fortress. And yeah, I would always win. That's the only thing I'm good at Mario Kart, I think, is that battle in the fortress.
The look on your eyes then was like, that is my greatest achievement from those early days. Yeah, it doesn't matter how long it's been, I'm still taking that win. Absolutely.
Yeah, I still remember that. I'll still tell my neighbour about that when I see him, how much I beat him. I'm looking forward to seeing in Mario Kart World what they do. If there's a battle mode like that, that'll be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to playing that and seeing what it's like.
Well, by the time this podcast comes out, we will all know what Mario Kart World is going to be like, because this podcast is going to be coming out in a few days' time after recording this. But
perfect.
Are you worried that, while we're on the topic of Mario Kart World, do you think that in the same way that Zelda kind of lost its charm when it became so open world and moved away from the formula, are you worried that that's going to happen with Mario Kart, or are you kind of thinking that this is just going to be a completely different journey and like the game that we never thought we'd ever get?
I feel like I'm hoping it's going to be a different journey. I feel like it lost a little bit of its magic with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, to be honest. I like it, but I don't feel that excitement about it that I did with Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I've had a lot of fun playing it with the kids, but there's just something about it. I feel like there's too much going on. So I'm hoping that Mario Kart World, the fact that it's, the whole world is something new, something different, that maybe we'll get that excitement back again. But yeah, I did lose a little bit of interest in the Mario Kart 8 when it came out, 8 Deluxe, and the previous one before it. Nothing will ever compare to Mario Kart 64. So I'm going to give an honest review when I get Mario Kart World and how I feel about it. I'm just hoping that they don't overdo it with all these things going on, or make the levels too crazy or too long, and that there's some unlockables as well along the way. One of my favorite kart racing games of all time is Diddy Kong Racing. I think it's
finally
I think it's better than Mario Kart 64. I think it's a little bit better than that.
See, again, another go-to. All the time. It is. I've been saying for years that Mario Kart needs to get have the extra sort of the plane, the hovercraft kind of thing in there.
Yeah.
To have that, rather than just the wheels coming down, to have those different vehicles and to kind of have that kind of story mode that Diddy Kong had. One game. Exactly. One game on the N64 better than Double Dash. Better than Mario Kart Wii for me. It's just the fact that it combines all those elements, and it doesn't get enough love. It really doesn't.
It doesn't. It's so underrated, and I honestly think I might like it a little bit better than Mario Kart 64. But I like the fact that Diddy's in was it Mario Kart 8 as well too. So I'm hoping Diddy's in the new one, but it looks like, I don't know if he is or not, Diddy Kong. But yeah, I'm hoping that there's some unlockables, or that we don't get all the levels straight away. That's what I loved about Diddy Kong Racing, is that you'd do a level and unlock it with the balloons, and then you'd have the final boss at the end. I feel like Mario Kart, if they sort of went that way a little bit more, it'd be a little bit more exciting, and big bosses that you have to race. But who knows? We'll see what it's like.
I've got a feeling we're going to be getting a lot of unlockable characters in this, like over the kind of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate kind of vibe.
That'll be good.
I would love to see. I just love the fact that Conker, the most like notorious sort of like rude ass squirrel ever, is in Diddy Kong Racing, and he's proper cute in his game. And it's just like the most vile creature known to man. But everyone's like, "Oh, look at that little squirrel! He's well cute." I kind of want to see.
He's not cute at all.
Exactly. I want to see the Moo Moo cow, and then Conker just like racing down a track and being like, "This is the most unhinged Mario Kart ever." Yeah, that's my dream. Hopefully that will happen. But we've got to keep everything crossed.
Yeah.
So, let's keep the need for speed going, as it were, and carry on
Yep.
talk about extreme games.
Yep.
You love your extreme games. I can
Yep.
see
Definitely.
behind you when it comes to sports, it is Tony Hawk's massively. When did the love for Tony Hawk's first begin?
It would have been when the game come out. And it's funny because I loved skateboarding so much back in the day, but I would never skateboard in the street because I would get made fun of for it for being a girl and skateboarding. Times back then, being a girl skateboarding, you got made fun of. So I'd be skateboarding in the back of my house. We had probably a little 3 meter by 3 meter little bit of concrete, and I'd be skateboarding there, trying to skateboard. Still not good at it to this day, but I still loved it. And then I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and Alyssa Steamer on it, the first female skater on a game, and it just changed everything for me. I got the balls to go out the front and start skateboarding out the front after that. And yeah, it was just the best thing ever. Playing that game sort of got my skateboarding fix as well too, and I just fell in love with it, fell in love with the music. And yeah, me and my neighbor would be playing Tony Hawk's, then we grab the skateboards, go out the front for a bit, then go back inside, play some Tony Hawk's, and I just loved it ever since then.
So when you found yourself in a room with Bam Margera and Tony Hawk and all the people from the games you've been playing, through your childhood, I imagine you went in quite cool and collected and just sort of
Oh.
incredibly calm and everything went really well, right? I imagine that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from how that interview might have gone.
No, no, it was funny because it's a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Fest. It was full of press and it was full of content creators, and only a couple of Tony Hawk's like fan content creators like myself. And I don't know if you know of Andy Tips as well too. He's a really big Tony Hawk's content creator, and he's one of the best Tony Hawk's players there are. A big fan of skateboarding. So I felt like I was in there, and there's just press, and there's a few other content creators around that don't know. Jamie Thomas is standing right there, and everyone's just around him, and they're not looking at him as well too. And I just like waving. Then there's Bam standing to the side with his missus. You got all these pro skaters around Leo Thomas and everything, and no one's sort of taking it in really. And I'm just going up to him, waving, talking to him and stuff, and they were just so nice. They were so chill, and I didn't think that I was going to get a chance to talk to everyone. I was told that yeah, I'd be going there, and if I want to have a chat to people, I can. And the dude from Activision said, if you want to have a chat to Steve Caballero, go up to the red carpet bit. And so I did, had a chat to him, and then the other guys just started coming by. So I just was like, I'm just going to have a chat to them. I'm going to have a chat to them too. And he's like, do whatever you want. So I just started having a chat to everyone, and I was just like an overexcited fan. I couldn't control my yep. So I just wish I didn't talk over him so much. But I think they appreciate it at the end of the day as well too, because they're talking to all these people that are professionals, and then they come to me at the end, and I'm just so excited talking to them, and they knew I was a fan of the game, and I think that made them feel pretty good as well too. So
I
still
think
excited now thinking about
your
it.
excitement is infectious when you watch it. You can see Bam smiling because it's like I'm talking to somebody who also loves this as much as I do. You're asking
Yeah,
about his favorite level. When people are going to be talking about why have you been gone for so long? What's it like to come back and do this? You're just straight in there with what's your favorite level? What's
yeah,
next? How excited are you to be back in the and I feel like it is refreshing. It's a very wholesome video.
yeah.
Um, and I think they can feel that. But how did this come about? How did this happen? How did you suddenly
Oh, I
find
don't.
yourself sort of doing a channel for a year and then interviewing Bam Margera and hanging out with Steve
I,
Caballero and looking out for Rodney Mullen and stuff like this? Like
I
what's
couldn't believe it. So it was about 6 weeks ago. I had a message on my Instagram, and they were like, "Oh, with Activision Blizzard, they just want to know if you'd be interested in working with them." And I was like, this sounds a bit like a scam, but that sounds like a really good scam, elaborate scam. But yeah, no, you picked the right person for that scam.
take my
So
money
I'm like,
right
yeah,
now, please? Yeah.
yeah, that's an elaborate scam. You've done a lot of research. And so I'm like, yeah, I said to them, yeah, let me know what's up and what you want to do. And they're like, well, do you want to come to the Tony Hawk's Fest and try out Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3-4? And I was like, of course, yeah. So they sent me over there. I wasn't sure if it was real at the start or if someone just wanted my kidneys or something like that, but I was willing to take the chance and go over there. They paid for flights, accommodations, and everything like that. I got to trial out the game. and they said give your honest opinion on it as well too. But of course, I loved it, and yeah, it was a good game. I think I'm the only one in the world that wanted the 2 minute timer on it as well too, because I know a lot of people with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 to 3, you get the 2 minute timer. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, it's more the career mode, which I kind of lost a little bit interest in the career mode when you go up, and the clapping, and then it's taken forever. You do the goal, and you go back to them, then they ask if you want to save. Like I like the excitement of the 2 minute timer and trying to get as many goals done as you can, and then you don't do it and you restart again. But in saying that too, when I did play 3 and 4 with the 2 minute timer, it was good, but it did feel like the levels went a little bit too quick with the 2 minute timer and the basic goals. So as much as I do love 2 minute timer, I just think that also maybe they could have chucked career mode in there, or whether it was a money thing, they couldn't do both. But I'm happy with the 2 minute timer anyway. But I know a lot of people out there are pretty disappointed that there's no career mode.
Would you say you're hardwired to kind of prefer the arcade gaming style than in these kind of extreme sports titles? Is that kind of more your bag? You want your get to the finish, kind of like in like a 1080 snowboarding kind of thing. You want to just have the run, see what you can do, try and beat your high score, or try and beat the trick, the trick list that you've done previously.
100%. Yep. Those are the type of games I love. Like, I do love the skate franchise as well too, but it doesn't have that excitement for me that the 2 minute runs of Tony Hawk's have. I do love the Need for Speed Underground. I do love Tony Hawk's Underground and that as well too. Getting used to it, enjoying it a bit more, still giving me that nostalgia. I didn't play them over and over as much as I did Tony Hawk's 1 to 3. So yeah, I feel like I'm the lucky one in the world that got the 2 minute timer for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I do love that kind of style. I feel like it's a bit more old school as well too. Even though it's not realistic, I'm not really looking for a skateboarding sim. I just like that excitement and the sounds as well too.
You're probably one of the only people who really wants the 30-day strict timer coming back on Pikmin as well, aren't you? Because I hated that thing. I hated how ruthless the first game was, and as soon as the other games kind of just made it a lot more chilled and a lot easier, I was like, oh, this is. But again, Majora's Mask, the strict timing, the strict timing. I feel. Do you work best under pressure? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's actually funny because the timer thing for Majora's Mask lost me a little bit because I got so confused with the timer, and I think Zelda's more of a game about exploring as well too, and I felt like with the timer in Majora's Mask made me not enjoy it as much as Ocarina of Time, but I still loved Majora's Mask. Yeah.
Absolute classic. And I was going to get the mask tattooed on my hand, and then my friend arrived, and he was like, "Look at my tattoo," and he got it in his hand, and I was like, "Well, that's a dream I cannot fulfill anymore."
It's fun to tattoo that. I've tattooed the Majora's Mask heaps of time. I went to a tattoo expo, and this guy got the Majora's Mask tattooed all across his chest, sat all day. Would have killed him. Yeah, it was a nice tattoo to do. It was a fun one. Yeah.
So, talk to me about kind of toy hunting. I know that you've kind of done a little bit of searching for nostalgic toys and kind of building up a collection in that area as well. Where do you go? What do you look for? And, what's in your collection when it comes to picking up figurines and toys from the past?
It's funny because I've got these are some of the things I picked up in America.
It's almost like I've done research, right? It's incredible.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I had these here. I'm like, I'm going to start pinning them to the wall. I got some of these in America. I went toy hunting in America, but I only had one luggage, so I was trying to put all these toys in there without crushing them. So I had to sacrifice some heels and a handbag for toys, as every woman does. Yeah, I sacrificed some of them. But what I search for is my love is biker mice from Mars. Old Simpsons toys. I'm not talking about the red and the yellow cards. The ones before that, they have like the white backing cards, like the real old sort of Simpsons toys, and even just trading cards. Garbage Pail Kids. I'm on the hunt for the older Garbage Pail Kids. X-Men, even Simpsons cards and old Simpsons books and stuff like that. I just love collecting it all. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I just picked up some small soldier toys as well too. We've got a pretty cool shop called Lobo's Collectibles here in Australia, and it's just full of toys that you could get, like any toys, Star Wars and everything like that. Toxic Crusaders as well too. Mighty
Hmm.
Max is something. And it's funny because I was a bit of a tomboy growing up, so I didn't like Polly Pocket. I liked Mighty Max. They were so good.
I'm gonna have to put you in touch with Brent because he's in Australia and he's done,
Yeah.
like I said, he's done a lot of the work for Tops Cards and Garbage Pail Kids and Star Wars and stuff. So if you're looking to
Oh,
build up
awesome.
your and he has so much Garbage Pail Kids stuff in his house. I cannot sort of begin to explain to you the level of collecting that this man goes to. So I'll have to
Oh,
put you in touch with him
really?
and so you can
Yeah,
maybe
definitely. I
fill
reckon
your
they'd make
collection a
good
little bit.
tattoos.
Yeah, absolutely. But why those specific things? Is it because you're looking to collect and sell on? Is it because you're looking just to kind of build like a nostalgia hub in your home? Is this something that you're hoping to kind of share with your family as they grow up?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that reminds me of when I was a kid too. It's even nice going to these old shops and you're looking around at toys or something like that, and you see a toy and it unlocks a memory from when you were a child that you completely forgot about. So yeah, I had a really good childhood growing up. My parents were always great with stuff like that, toys, and we weren't their richest family, but if they could afford it, they'd buy us a toy and you'd play with that toy for a whole month. Whereas kids these days, they get a million toys and they shove them to the side. I don't feel like they have that nostalgic feeling to it. So I've sort of taught my girls to appreciate the toys that they get now as well too. And it's funny because sometimes they say to me, "Mum, can I get one to play with and one to keep in the box?" Well, so I'm like, "I've taught you well. I've taught you well."
Yeah, when collectors raise children, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so Pokemon cards, make sure your hands are clean when you open this up. No,
Yeah.
no Cheetos on that, and take it out really carefully, straight into the sleeves every single
Yeah,
time.
they know that too about the cards. Yeah, they're like, we won't bend them. We'll keep them good. We'll keep them in the packet as well too.
I just think about when we pulled out Charizards from packets when we were on the playground, and you just run
Oh,
around with it in your hand, and then like, oh, let me have a look at that, and some kid eating a sandwich would pick it up and have a look at it, and by the time it went back into your
rub it
pocket,
in
it
the
was
dirt.
creased, and and now I look on eBay and think I had one of those, but mine definitely isn't worth £20,000. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's probably at the
definitely.
bottom of a landfill
They're
site somewhere right
expensive.
now. It's absolutely wild. We have another podcast called the Collectible Club Podcast where we talk about
Oh, yeah.
these rare finds, and Brandon, who I do Retro Dodo with, he recently went to Akihabara and he pulled up some amazing finds from his
Nice.
time in Tokyo, some great cards and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But again, things that we pulled out when we were children that we
Oh,
have
and you
no
don't
idea where they are
realize.
anymore, and then you see them again and think, if I'd only just looked after
If
that.
only I knew. I think the most expensive thing from my Nintendo 64 collection is snowboard kids too. In the box, I think they're worth about 5 grand now, and I can't fathom why they're worth so much. And I didn't pay that much for it back in the day, obviously. And that's like I'm excited that I've got something that's worth so much, but at the same time, I wish that it wasn't worth so much because it's so hard collecting the rest of the Nintendo 64 collection these days as well too. I can't understand why a cardboard box costs so much, but then at
Mm.
the same time it's rare. So there you go.
I do wish we go back to cardboard again. I think it'd be incredible to have the cardboard box for the Nintendo Switch 2
Yeah.
games, to get away from to have like this again with all the writing on the
Oh,
back and then the instruction
you're gonna
booklet.
love this. I actually made some cardboard boxes up just for content creating. So
Oh, that is
Mario Kart
incredible.
Wow. So I just made these ones up. So I love it. I wish that the Nintendo Switch sort of started doing this sort of stuff again. I just thought I'd do that, trick people online, because I chucked a photo of this up before saying go on live playing Mario Kart later on just to see if anyone picks up on the Nintendo 64 box.
They are incredible. You should make those and sell them on Etsy so people can just like take them straight out of the plastic case, straight into the cardboard one for ultimate
Oh, I'd
nostalgia.
love it. Even if they made them like a mini little version, I want cardboard boxes back again. I think, yeah, it's good for a collector. Even probably bit better for the environment than all this plastic as well too. But yeah, I'd guess you got kids out there, they just probably throw the cardboard box away or step on it.
Plus, if you got your Switch 2 and didn't have the right connector, you've got nothing to read for a whole week these days, have you?
Yeah,
You can't just sit
exactly.
you can't sit in your bed with a Joy-Con reading the instruction booklet because there isn't one.
Exactly.
There's nothing to
I
read on the
remember
back
on
of
the
the
way
box.
on the way home from the video game shop, sitting in the back of the car, just flipping through the manual, reading everything from the manual. There's no manuals these days. I hate it. No booklets to read on the way home in the car.
And this is why we like to talk about the nostalgia side of this stuff. Like when I remember when I got my GameCube, I used to read. Well, before I got the GameCube, I used to read Nintendo official magazine about Luigi's
Yeah.
Mansion and read everything to do with that game. So we try and channel those kind of feelings of waiting for these retro games that you
Oh,
just
the
don't get
excitement.
anymore. Like the
You
excitement
don't.
of spending months and months counting down, and this is what's going to be in Wind Waker. This is what it's going to look like. The controversial new graphic style and that
Yep,
anticipation of
100%.
turning it on and seeing if you love it, and then in 30 seconds realizing that it's the best thing you've ever played, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. So what are you thinking about the Nintendo Switch 2? Talking about these rarer games that people don't have access to, because one of the things I'm excited about is Chibi Robo coming to the GameCube emulator, which is going to be on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah,
It's a title that tends to go for quite a lot of money in second-hand shops. I've seen it
exactly.
for 300, anything anywhere between sort of 300 to £500, and it's very much out of a lot of people's
People's
price
range.
range. It means a lot of people haven't actually played it. So the fact that games like that are appearing on there now it can only be a good thing, in my opinion.
Oh, so good. And I actually never owned a GameCube growing up as well too. I think I went straight from Nintendo 64 to PlayStation 2 after that, Nintendo Wii. So I never got to experience much of the GameCube. Really excited to play the games. I think I've only ever played Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. So I know I'm not a very good gamer, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing some of them GameCube games as soon as I get the Switch. Maybe I'll have to play some of them tomorrow night. So I just don't know how much games are added to the library to start off with. Zelda Wind Waker as well too. I heard's on there. I've played a little bit of that.
Hmm.
I like that game. That's got a little bit more of the style that I like a bit better than Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom as well too.
Wind Waker is going to be. If it's going to be, I've waited for that to come onto a Switch. I know you can get the Steam Deck and you can emulate it on there, but I've waited for
Yeah,
it to be on the Switch for so long. I've wanted GameCube to come on there for such a long time, and the fact that we're going to get Luigi's Mansion in time as well,
yes,
and we can go back and play Soul Calibur 2 and have Link, again for the first time for a lot of new gamers. It's phenomenal,
yeah,
and I just
exactly.
love that. I love that these new features are going to be on there as well, like the rewind for the N64 games, and
Yep,
it's just bringing a lot of the titles that we love to new players, and that's what this is it's
exactly.
all about for us. It's all about keeping retro relevant and educating people and helping people to experience these games that we've loved in the past. All I need now is Diddy Kong Racing to come onto the N64,
Oh, I know. Well, that would
and
be a
then
dream.
Diddy Kong Racing
What
and
I do.
Goldman to get on there would be
Yeah.
amazing. And then,
And
you know,
a Banjo Kazooie 3. Now, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but what I'd do for a Banjo Kazooie 3, that'd be the best.
what I would do for Banjo Kazooie 3 would be, I mean, if you thought they were going to steal your kidneys when you went to,
Yeah.
this Activision thing, I would sell both mine to get Banjo Kazooie 3.
Uh,
And I know
I,
that people will be listening saying, yeah, but it does exist. It's nuts and bolts. I'm sorry, guys. Nuts and bolts is not what
no,
we're talking about. It's
let's
not
not
cutting
mention
the
nuts and
mustard.
bolts.
It's not what we
I think I
want. We
played that
wanted
for 10 minutes and then it was straight in the bin for that one.
the
No,
same.
I got nuts and bolts somewhere, but it's not a Banjo Kazooie game. I'll say that till the day I die. Nuts and bolts is not a Banjo Kazooie game, and I feel like Donkey Kong 64 had a similar vibe to Banjo Kazooie, and I'm hoping that the Donkey Kong Bonanza still has that same sort of vibe as Donkey Kong 64, but looking at the trailer, it kind of looks a little bit Mario Galaxy with the
Mhm.
colors and the shininess that they're doing. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up with that game. I just hope that I just like the bananas. There's got to be bananas in there, surely, not just chrome. Everything looks too chrome. So I'm gonna try not to get my hopes up with that one, but I think I might be a little bit disappointed with Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I think the most important thing is it's the rare factor has gone. Like
Yeah,
the rare made that game incredible, and it does follow the Banjo Kazooie style. It follows the Star Fox style for me. Like the
Conkers.
just yeah, and our friend Conker. It follows all those amazing that platform style, and I just hope it isn't too fast paced and just like
Yep.
a Mario Galaxy
Yeah.
kind of port, like you said, or not port, like a rip off almost. But we'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Feels like it.
Time will tell. Time will tell. We're not too
We'll
far
see.
away from that arriving
Yeah, I know.
now.
I'm not a couple of weeks away from that one. I think that is on the 17th of June, I think. So we've got a good month of some game releases coming up.
There's such a long gap between having 3D Donkey Kong games as well. Like I feel
Yeah.
like they feel like Nintendo kind of just pumped out Donkey Kong content because they felt like they had to for a while. Like the side
Had to keep it
scrolling.
relevant.
Yeah, they're just keeping relevant, just keep putting out side scroll. I love side scrolling games, but for me, Donkey Kong 64, it was just such a great story, and I just hope,
Yeah.
like you said, that this one can also live up to it as well because it's time that Donkey Kong, became a bigger name rather than just a Mario Kart character or a Smash
Yeah.
Brothers character.
Rather than just an extra character. I
Mm.
feel like that, like the colors as well too for Donkey Kong 64. We had lots of the blues and greens, and watching the trailer to that Bonanza, I feel like it's the more the Galaxy sort of style. So
Mm.
I hope we get that feeling back again, like we did with the 3D games from the Nintendo 64. But yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm excited for it, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up with it.
So what's next for you? What's happening next? Obviously, you've had a massive, exciting adventure going and talking to all the Tony Hawk's guys. You are continually pumping out content. What have you got planned for the rest of 2025, moving into 2026?
Well, I've slowed down a little bit on the tattoos. I've cut down to just a couple of weeks with tattoos and just decided to do some more content, YouTube content and stuff, Twitch streams, and just have a little bit of fun with it. I've been really enjoying it lately, so hopefully I can do that a bit more full time in the future and do less tattooing. I do love tattooing. I'll do tattooing if I get like cool retro stuff to do, but I've sort of slowed down on the tattooing side of things because I'm having heaps of fun at the moment with the retro stuff. Wouldn't mind doing some more shop hunting, toy finding, and been trying to add more games to my collection as well too. Some more extreme sports games that I've not had. I've just recently got BMXXX, and I was going to stream that the other day, and people were like, "That's not a game for streaming." So I played that offline and realized that that's not a game for streaming, but it's still a really cool, really cool game. So yeah, just trying to find some more extreme sports games. I need to play Session as well too, the skateboarding simulator games. Session XL. What was the other one? I tried playing them a little while ago, and it was just too realistic and too hard for me. I'm not the best gamer as well. I don't know. That's another thing actually. Why I was invited to the Tony Hawk Fest. I was a bit confused because I'm not the best at Tony Hawk's as well too. I think maybe I was just invited to be there like on behalf of the average gamer and the average skater. So yeah, I do prefer the arcadey styles more than the skate game. I'm looking forward to Skate 4 coming out though. See how that goes.
It's nice that you said that because one thing that I do say a lot on here as well is that people expect us especially to be incredible gamers. They expect if you write about games, they expect you to be amazing at every level when it's just not true.
No,
There are,
exactly.
I get beaten by my friends at Mario Kart all the time. I love Mario Kart. I will die on any hill where anyone says that it's one of the greatest racing games of all time. It's brilliant. Obviously, Diddy Kong
it's
Racing
great.
aside,
Yeah.
but
Diddy Kong Racing just a bit higher, but Mario Kart.
it's always sorry guys, it's always going to be higher. But I'm terrible at it, but I love it, and sometimes I really excel at stuff like God of War or Ocarina of Time. Other times I'll turn something on like Returnal, and I'll get my ass handed to me every single time.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's nice that you said that you feel like you went because you were the average gamer, because that's 99% of the population who watch these things, who want to talk about these things, who can't grind on Tony Hawk's or have been trying to get one tape forever because they just can't do it, rather than a whole room of speed runners or absolute experts. So the fact that you were there and have kind of self-identified as that, I love that. It's brilliant because
that's
I'm the
right.
same as
Half
you.
my YouTube channel is people know I'm not the best gamer, but I feel like it's half the fun them watching my Twitches, and they're trying to help me out with what to do, and I'm confused with what to do. So I feel like that makes it more exciting. Plus, also, I think it's good for people who want to content create. You don't have to be a good gamer. Just get out there. If you enjoy something enough, just go and do it. I do get a fair few hate comments that I try to ignore. There's toxic comments out there. Sometimes I ignore them. Sometimes I'll bring them to light as well too. If content creating is something that you want to do, you sort of got to be prepared for that. Cop it on the chin. You need a little bit of thick skin to get through it. So yeah, I'm definitely not the best gamer in the world, but I think people appreciate that as well too. Sometimes you don't want to watch someone just get high scores all the time. It's fun to watch people just try their hardest and get frustrated and just enjoy the game without being the best at it.
Passion always prevails in these projects every single time.
That's right.
I feel like if you've got the passion for it, then people will. If you've got the passion for it and you can tell a good story, people want to join in and they want to
Definitely.
they appreciate what you do, and that's the main thing always.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I think we'll round that off there if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you about all
Awesome.
things retro, and I know that in a few hours' time at the point of recording this podcast, you are going to be queuing up and grabbing the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, 2 hours away from getting the Nintendo Switch 2. So I'll probably head off in about half an hour's time and start lining up because it's in the next town over. Start lining up and seeing how I go. I'm hoping there's not too many people there, but we'll see. And then I'll be jumping on straight away. I reckon I'll get home about 1 a.m. I've just had an energy drink as well too. I haven't had an energy drink in years. I haven't had an energy drink this late in years, so I'm going to really struggle to try and stay awake and do a stream. But I'm looking forward to playing it. That excitement's back again for a new console that comes out.
Well, also the midnight launch as well. It's not something that I've seen in years. We used to have it all the time at Game here in the UK. They used to do midnight launches, and you'd have people queuing up down the street. You see people queuing up to get the PS2 on videos online, and that's what happened in our childhoods. And then that's kind of disappeared with a lot of the here in the UK, especially a lot of gaming stores have closed down, or they've been pushed into other department stores. And now we kind of just have second-hand stores like CEX or a local
Retro.
one in my town, Southern Retro Games. There's just a second-hand retro vibe. So the idea of the midnight launch is something that I do miss. So that to hear
It's
that coming
so exciting.
back, the Nintendo Switch is sick. It's great.
It's half the fun too, because you can see the excitement with everyone else in line as well too, getting excited over a midnight launch. I can't remember the last time that we've had a midnight launch as well too. I'm not sure if that's something that's more popular in America, whether they have it as well. But in Australia, we haven't done a midnight launch in a long time. So I'm looking forward to going down there and just being around a bunch of people that are equally as excited as I am.
One last thing I will ask you before we go. Where do you think the future of retro is going? Where do you think retro collecting is going, and do you think in a few years' time that your copy of Snowboard Kids that's worth $5,000, sorry, do you think that's still going to be the same case? Do you think your kids are going to be as excited about having those games when they grow up, or is it just going to be something that they're not going to be interested in, going to have to sort of clear out when we're all kind of gone?
I'm hoping they don't throw away my collection when I'm gone, that's for sure. I reckon that retro collecting's become more popular, but I'm hoping that the prices come down. So even though I've got that expensive game, I do hope the prices come down on these games so people can collect more, but there's just not much out there in the same time because I feel like there's more retro collecting going on. So yeah, it's hard to think about the future. I'm hoping that the prices don't keep going up for these retro games, and I know my kids are gonna be little collectors when they're growing up. So I'm looking forward to passing down my stuff to them and seeing how they go with that. Hopefully they don't take them out the box protectors and throw them on the ground.
Oh, look at this! Look at this really crisp cardboard box. Let's stand on it.
Well, I've done that so many times as a kid.
Yeah, no, it's. I've still got my Ocarina of Time box is great, but there's a little bit of the manual that's ripped from when the dog stood on it when I was younger. And it's a nice moment because obviously the dog's not with us anymore, and I kind of think like, I think about him, but I also think, if only I just got that out of the way at the last second, we'd be in the money right here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But where can people follow you online, Maggie? Where can people check out what you do and tune into your Twitch streams and just get involved with everything?
Pretty much Retro Maggie on everything. Retro Maggie Instagram, Retro Maggie YouTube, Retro Mags TikTok. Or if you want to follow my tattoo sort of home sort of stuff, it's Tattoo Maggie. So not too confusing, either Retro Maggie for the retro stuff or Tattoo Maggie for the tattoo stuff. Eventually, we're going to get a drift sim, and I've already created the channels called Drift Maggie. That will be in the future though, so we'll see if we've got the time. We've got time for that, but yeah. So Retro Maggie for the retro gaming sort of content, and then I got Tattoo Maggie on TikTok and Tattoo Maggie on Instagram for tattoo related stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us again, Maggie. It's been awesome, and fingers crossed you get a good place in line and get that Switch sorted, and enjoy playing it as soon as you get home.
No worries at all. Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed my first ever podcast as well too. So thank you so much.
You did great. I loved every second of it. Thank you.
Cheers, legend. Thanks so much for that. See you later.